Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you live and when you're watching this one. Some people could be watching at 9 a.m. on Sunday morning live with me, and then we've got some other people that are currently in New Zealand in this evening time, such as Louis, for example. But anyway, thank you very much for joining me. This is the debrief of Crystal Palace 0, West Ham United 2, a camera look. I say camera, do you know what? It might not be. As Barry says, good morning, West Ham fans. How did them 3 points feel? Help, that's it. Have a great day. Winning is fun. When you watch your football team win, it just triggers emotions that perhaps not many other things in your life can do. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I just live a sad, lonely life or something. But football's just different, isn't it? And winning in football is fun. It's happiness. And I like it. I'm feeling good today. Yesterday evening, I was feeling happier because we'd won. I woke up today thinking, you know what? We played all right yesterday and we won. Winning is fun. My attentions are already on Wednesday night, by the way. I'm trying to not get carried away about Wednesday. I cannot wait for that game. And I want to win the Carabao Cup, but I'll discuss that tomorrow with Gonzo. Anyway, if you're watching this live, the live chat is there. Please do get involved. Get your thoughts in regarding the match. It could be about a certain player. It could be about the tactics. It could be about Lopetegui. It could be about the game itself. It could be about something that happened in the match. It doesn't matter. Anything in relation to the game that you want to talk, get it into the live chat because this is your show. This is where we see what yous are saying. Hamright says, now you can see why Lopetegui wanted Kilman. Wan-Bissaka is an upgrade on Soucek and a massive one as well. Wasim says it's a great result yesterday, while Clayton says he doesn't think anyone underestimates Soucek. I think we all know what we can do in the box. The issue is when he's not scoring, he's aimlessly jogging about. I have to say, I was impressed by Soucek's positioning yesterday. I think in the number 10 role, can we agree that Soucek was in the number 10 role yesterday and Paqueta was deeper? I think that's a fair observation. I don't think I'm saying anything wild there. I think it actually helped because Soucek's limitations are when his passing game isn't as great as others, for example. And where does that impact you the most? In central midfield, really. So we've sort of removed him and put somebody in there that can do it. What's Soucek's strengths? Arriving in the box, the long ball, the option for the long ball. So we put him in a position where he can impact the game and hurt the opposition. I think it was a good move by Lopetegui yesterday. Graham says a big win. Lopetegui's got some tough decisions coming up regarding team selection. For example, Kudus and Lucas Paqueta, I think, actually. Liam says, great win. Shipped 5 there a few months ago. Kilman was a beast. Rodriguez grew into the game, and I feel he'll be a great signing for us. Looking forward to seeing Tadibo, Somerville, and Fulkrug start on a Wednesday. Hammer 99 said the whole man was angry and disappointed. He thoroughly enjoyed being in it. Hey, I love that. Going undercover. I've had to do that a few times myself. Some people really struggle. I find it easy enough. I'm not the most reactive person, even in the home end at the London Stadium, and if we score, certainly, but if it's a shot that goes wide, I'm not the most reactive, or if a player makes the mistake, I'm not the most shouty person. I just never have been. Don't know why. It's just not something I've ever really done before. Steve 50 says Kilman was sensational yesterday. I thought we'd overpaid at first, but now it looks like good value for money. Tom says Wan-Bissaka is a beast, and Chris has finally got out of bed early enough to watch one of these. You can watch it in bed, Chris. I never said you had to get out your bed. I don't mind if you're still in bed and you're on your phone watching it. It doesn't bother me. You go where you want to go. I'm just pleased that you've joined us. Thank you very much. Adrian says there'll be games where Soucek should play. There will be games where he shouldn't. The same for most players when we have a big squad. I completely agree with that, actually. Jordan said, with the risk of sounding a little noisy, really pleased with the clean sheet. Our defence looks athletic. I was impressed. The substitutions, we just got more and more comfortable with each substitution, didn't we? Todd thinks Paqueta deeper worked for him. Dear Mood, I think I'm on 60 points. Not the biggest haul in the world, but above average this week. I've climbed every league on Fantasy League. I've climbed bar one. I've gone down in. James says Kilman was man of match. He was man of match for me as well by a country mile. John says, good game yesterday, slow start. We were lucky. Should have been down in first half. I think we were maybe the better team for the first 10, 15 minutes, and then Palace got on top. But I actually think, like I said in the review yesterday, and I've watched the first half back already this morning. I've not done the second half. I've watched the first half back. And I stand by my conclusion, which was when Palace were on top, I thought they looked less dangerous. I thought they looked at their most threatening when they were able to play counter-attacking football as a result of us attacking. They were able to win it back, quick transition, usually through Wharton, and then they were able to run at us. And sometimes it was 4-on-3, 3-on-3. And the numbers were in their favour. But actually, when they were outside our box passing the ball around, I thought we looked quite comfortable, actually. I thought the defence looked quite well organised. The midfield looked quite well organised. I thought Palace struggled to break us down. So weirdly, when Palace were on top, I thought we looked more comfortable defensively, if that works. Saying that, both our goals came from a counter-attack as well, to some extent. Hammer99 said Rodriguez really impressed him. Looked a lot bigger in person and doesn't avoid any tackles. Blokes had 145 minutes in pre-season, yet played back-to-back 90s, near enough in a new team. Bargain. Very impressed with him yesterday. Very, very impressed. Cyber said, hopefully the keyboard coaches have settled down after that win. Oi! You leave us keyboard coaches alone. He said, how good was that pass from Kilman for Bowen's goal? Aqua says, new squad and training. Lopetegui is right playing the existing squad until the new players are up to speed. I'm just going to back Aqua up here a little bit. He defended the lineups in the last two games. He's not saying it with the benefit of hindsight because we've obviously won one. He was saying that when the lineups came out. Mark said Debo may struggle to get that shirt off Mavropanos. Yeah, he's not giving it up anytime soon, is he? And he's saying helping the young ball boy out from under the boarding, sorry. Show the lads are more than food. I like to think most footballers would do that, to be fair. It's nice to see. I'm not taking anything away from Soucek and Bowen. Paqueta, maybe. He jumped on it. Paqueta jumped on the advertising board when it was on the kid, but he wasn't aware what was going on. Paqueta was just getting involved with the crowd, really. I quite liked it. But I like to think most players are the same. Maybe not Eden Hazard. He doesn't like ball boys, does he? I think he would have pushed the boarding down. But like what Paqueta tried to do. Roger says Kilman was excellent, looks more mobile, and looks like he's dropped a couple of pounds since pre-season. But I might get in touch with him, ask him how he's done it. So it's harsh on Mavropanos, but looking forward to seeing Todibo alongside him. Ross says Mavropanos looks shaky for him on the ball. I can't trust him. Always has a mistake on him. Greg says massive relief getting that first win yesterday. Calling it now Ramsaka or Kilman for Ham of the Year. Both going to be fan favourites. Kent was there yesterday. Thought we looked a bit ropey in the first half. Palace could have had a couple. And then second half, subs made a heck of a difference. Wan-Bissaka freed up Bowen to do damage. Yeah, I do think when I might have a little look and see if I can access it before the player ratings tomorrow. I do feel that when Wan-Bissaka came onto the field, Bowen was sort of 10 yards infield then, whereas with Soufal, I thought he was more winger. And in fairness, Soufal was almost man-marking Eze yesterday. At times he was going quite central, which meant Bowen had to look after Mitchell, who's obviously a wing back and hugging the touchline. But I feel like when Wan-Bissaka came on, that changed a little bit, and Bowen almost came off Mitchell, let Wan-Bissaka take him, and then the midfielders dealt with Eze themselves in the end. But I think the switch was quite pivotal. It certainly got Bowen into the game, because I thought Bowen was poor up until we made it 1-0, to be honest with you. Andrew says, I feel for Soucek because he's limited, but Paqueta did nothing all game, but got a goal assist. People say that's why he's class. He does that when not playing well. That's fair. I feel like it's directed at me a little bit. I know it's not, because I said that about Bowen last week. I think Soucek had a good game yesterday, personally. Barry said, Wan-Bissaka surely has to be our number one right back. Now Soufal is done. Mavropanos looks shaky to Debo. I'm surprised how many people are split on Mavropanos, actually. Well, I guess we like a community question here on the Sunday morning show, where it's just somebody in live chat asking questions. It's a good one. We get everybody's answers. Let's discuss Mavropanos then for the next few minutes. Get your thoughts into Mavropanos, both performances, the Villa game and yesterday, because I feel like I think everybody's agreeing Kilman was fantastic yesterday. everybody was agreeing Wan-Bissaka came on and made a huge difference, but Mavropanos seems to have split people. So get your thoughts in about Mavropanos and let's see what you're all saying. Personally, I thought he had a good game. I think that's 2 good games for Mavropanos, but more importantly, 2 good games of Kilman and Mavropanos. I don't mind both centre-backs playing like 7 out of 10 personally, but as a pairing, they're 9 out of 10. Does that make sense? Sometimes the pairings can be greater than individual player performances, or likewise, the centre-backs could both have really good games, but as a duo, perhaps the communication, etc., wasn't there. And I've been impressed by them too, as a centre-back partnership, as well as how they've done individually. Steve says Fulkrug has to start against Manchester City, while Mitch is glad to see Wan-Bissaka silencing his critics about offering nothing going forward, being heavily involved. See, I've seen a few people saying this. Now, I'm one of the ones that I've got question marks over Wan-Bissaka going forward. However, I think I'm sorry to call you out, Mitch, but it's not just you. I've seen lots of comments about this. Going forward is a very generic way of describing something. What is going forward? Because when I said Wan-Bissaka isn't the best in the final third, it's in regards to his crossing. I recall saying it in one video. It might have been when we signed him and people were saying that we hadn't signed him. In that video, I think it was that one, I said his dribbling is fantastic and his passing's really good. It's the crossing. We haven't seen him do a good cross yet. We will do, of course, the law of averages, you will. But in terms of going forward, I just think that's such a generalization that covers almost everything: crossing, passing, shooting, dribbling. Everything in the middle and final third is covered by going forward. I just think it's too generalized. I still have doubts over Wan-Bissaka's crossing abilities, but his dribbling, I think that's always been a strong asset of his personally. Ross says substitutions changed that game. Fulkrug and Wan-Bissaka were brilliant. Lloyd said, from what he's seen, Antonio and Soufal weren't great. Do we think Wan-Bissaka and Fulkrug should start next week? Yes. James says, Paqueta moment yesterday was funny. He's the only West Ham player that would have had the bottle to do that, even though he was right to do it in regards to nicking the ball off the free kick. And to be honest with you, I think he was right to do it. And Apache says the same. Loved Paqueta's free kick moment. Shades of Zari versus Brazil 1974 World Cup. Crazy enough, the Zari player, I don't know who this guy is, by the way. It was a while till I was born. Who ran and booted the ball upfield. The free kick was taken. Was called a Lunga. There you go. Blast from the past, that one. I've just watched Babbling Irons' podcast on Patreon this morning. They're ranking every striker we've signed since moving to the London Stadium. I almost got PTSD listening to it, talking about Ajeti and Hugo and Clary and Zandy Silva. Forgot about him. Forgot he even existed. Barry says, Paqueta don't play, our team falls apart. We've seen it last season. Jay says, good morning, and a good one at that. I think we'll be coming on to the Mavropanos. Here we are. Now we're on to Mavropanos territory. James thought Mavropanos was good. Oliver said Mavropanos misplaced some passes, but he was solid in defence. Miguel said people have already decided what Mavropanos and Soucek drop, so they will look for reasons. Todd thought Mavropanos looked good. Infinitely said, I thought Taribo was rash and aggressive when he came on. He did. I mean, he was aggressive when he came on against Aston Villa. It just worked. James doesn't think he was bad against Villa either. Stephen says that Mavropanos had a couple of loose passes. DiCanio said Mavropanos has raised his game. Still third choice, but has earned this shirt. I think I have a suspicion, and it's specific to you, DiCanio. I think you're an older subscriber, as in long-term rather than age. Maybe age as well, I don't know. I think you had a different username before. And I think it was about a different West Ham player who was here recently, but moved recently as well. I could be wrong. Let me know. My suspicion, just because of your opinions, because I used to agree with this previous poster, and he's mysteriously disappeared overnight, which is annoying because I liked him. I think it's you. I think you've come back. The afterlife. Brian says Mavropanos has been pretty solid alongside Kilman to be so far. Topher says Dinos was great. He helped Wan-Bissaka before the goal as well. Paul thinks he was decent. Solid 6 for Paul. Clayton says that him and Kilman are forming an understanding partnership. That's exactly what my point is. I think they're a really good pairing, personally, those two. Barry says Mavropanos wasn't crap, but he wasn't brilliant. Todibo maybe can make the difference between our centre-backs. Cyber says Kilman has played under Lopetegui's tactics before. Mavropanos is still learning his system. That is incredibly accurate. Lloyd said Mavropanos gave the ball away in the first half, which should have led to a goal. Surely Todibo is first choice. Hammer 99 said Mavropanos was his man of the match. Strong, commanding in the air, got Lerma the booking, which forced him off. Mixed, no-nonsense defending with composure and ball playing at times. Swept well for Kilman a lot of second half. Yeah, I think their partnership is really impressive, personally. No, I forgot about getting Lerma booked. That was a really good dribble by Mavropanos. Paper Ball said, got a lot of time for them. Decisions on who to play has to come through training. Paul says up to Todibo to take his shirt. Gave away a silly foul in a good position for the free kick. That could have been costly. Chris, who kindly got out of bed to watch this video, said Mavropanos was unreal. Only Kilman being so brilliant made him look more normal. Jay's going to give him a 7 out of 10. A couple of scary moments, but not the worst. Was a dodgy pass to Rodriguez that sticks in mind, but some great play too. Blocks, covers, and tackles. Thing is, I think when you're going to play it out from the back like we have done, and we're certainly encouraging it as much as we can. We don't mind going long, but we still don't mind playing it out from the back. You're going to make mistakes. There's always going to be errors, and it's just something you've got to suck up when it occurs. Like Aston Villa, Brighton yesterday, one of the better teams are playing out from the back. Lewis Dunk made a sloppy pass, and it shot out for a corner for Man United. It happens. Ray likes him, good player and an excellent squad player. Kirst says Mavropanos was great defensively, but there were some wonky passes. Steve Harris says he played well. Did get the wrong side of his man a couple of occasions and on misplaced pass, but the good massively outweighed the bad. I agree with what Steve has said. To be fair, I agree with pretty much everybody. Mitch says Ramzaka's a good dribbler, as he was at Palace when he started as a winger for a good while. Chris would like to see Mavropanos-Kilman partnership remain, looking promising at the moment. Josh has said that Mavropanos proves he deserves another season at West Ham and we should be looking south of Gerrard. I think we are, to be fair. Gerrard not in the squad. Sort of, well, you just tell Gerrard that you're off and you tell Mavropanos that you're staying. Di Canio has confirmed my suspicions. Was it... I don't want to say your full name in case you don't want us to know, but is it to do with somebody that begins with D by any chance? The surname begins with D. That's my suspicion. Just because of your opinions. I do read every single comment we get on the comment section of videos. I reply to at least half, in my opinion. I reply to as many as I can, but I do read them. So as a result of reading comments, I form opinions of subscribers or read subscribing. Like, I like this guy. I can tell if I agree with a lot of people or disagree with a lot of people, which I don't mind as long as it doesn't get personal. That's what or when people make stuff up, that part I struggle with. But because someone yesterday said, "Oh, you predicted us to lose." No, I didn't. Where do you present your evidence? Not once did I say I thought we'd lose. Yeah, I didn't think we'd win, but I didn't think we'd lose. But anyway, form opinions. So this previous post that began with D, I liked his opinions, and then when Di Canio come along with similar opinions to that guy, I thought, there we go. I know who you are. Chris, do you think Kudus is struggling on the left? I think I do. I do think he's struggling. It's still a bit of a difficult one for Lopetegui, because I think on the hour mark yesterday, the game finished on the hour. I think Lopetegui would be well within his rights to say, do you know what, I'm going to put Kudus on right against Man City or against Bowen. I'm going to try Kudus on the right and I'm going to move Bowen over to the left. But after Bowen went and got an involvement in the first goal, got a goal, sort of justifies keeping Jarrod Bowen there. So what do you do with Mohamed Kudus? And I think after the Villa game, I certainly think there was an argument for moving him centrally and putting Paqueta onto the left or dropping Paqueta back. But now Tomas Soucek's played centrally in that number 10 role and got a goal. It's sort of like, well, he ain't leaving either. So I think Kudus is going to be stuck on that left for at least another game. Cyber Leader, international breaks after the Manchester City game. We've got one more game. Well, we've got two. Bournemouth Wednesday, Man City Saturday. International break already. Brad says Lucas Paqueta coming too deep to receive the ball, which is leading to him to getting crowded as soon as he touches it. Need him playing between opponents' midfield and defence. Mavropanos, Martin thinks Mavropanos did okay. Maybe Mavropanos thinks Martin did all right as well. Unsure. Asked him for his opinion on Martin Ayers. Colin Wood says what he loves about the comments is that say we'll never win a game under whichever manager we happen to have. He's disappeared, that person. This one, he's disappeared. And he's got my 50 quid. He's disappeared with my 50 quid. I had a bet on. He did a bet with me. 2 bets, £50 each. I've won the first one. He's not paid me. And the second one is that West Ham, for me to win the second bet, West Ham won't get relegated this season. I'm quite confident I'm going to win another 50 quid. That's the 7th subscriber I've won money against. Not one person's paid me. The other 6 have all just disappeared. And I don't think they've come back either. I don't think they're doing what Di Canio's done. Those times I think our wingers are struggling purely because teams know that's where our threat is at and they're just crowding them out. I think they'll get better. I think, like I said yesterday, I feel Bowen was more defensive. I'm going to say something controversial. This is my genuine opinion. I think Bowen, while Soufal was on the pitch and prior to Wan-Bissaka coming on, I thought Jarrod Bowen yesterday was more defensive-minded than he was under David Moyes. I know I don't expect many people to agree. I know I'll be in the minority. It's my honest opinion from watching the game. I felt Bowen was incredibly focused on Mitchell. Because Soufal was focused on Eze, it meant Bowen had to watch Mitchell and he had to come back way too often and keep an eye on Mitchell. I felt the substitution of Wan-Bissaka freed Bowen up, moved him forward, moved to midfield, and we've seen the result of it. That, in my opinion, doesn't happen under David. I mean, we've seen that at Selhurst Park. We just didn't do anything with Eze. We didn't have Soufal man marking. He just ran right and put them 4-0 up after half an hour. But I think because Bowen was David Moyes' main man, I think Moyes would always make sure that Bowen was free. But he had to come back and do his defensive responsibilities against a left back, but not necessarily a left wing back. And I feel Moyes would have made accommodations so that Bowen would be the one that was released and further up the pitch. Whereas yesterday, I'm not sure that happened. And this isn't a criticism of Lopetegui, it's an observation of what I felt yesterday and how the game was going. I just felt Bowen was very one-on-one with Mitchell until Wan-Bissaka came on, freed him up, and we've seen the result. So I think Bowen was more defensive yesterday than he ever was under David Moyes. So there you go. That's my controversial take on yesterday's game. Not a criticism, an observation. Ryan says Antonio can't start anymore. He is done. Jason, he bets me 20 quid, no one pays you. I'm not taking that one. That's a dead set. I'm not expecting to win the money, to be fair. I would just put it on a bet giveaway for the next game anyway. Guarino says that's because Soufal's not playing as a right back when Wan-Bissaka came on. I completely agree. I felt Soufal was man marking Eze as much as he could. When we won the ball, Soufal was getting forward, and then that's when Eze was impacting us because Palace would win the ball back and Eze was now free. But where they were in possession in our half, I felt Soufal was very touch tight to Eze and stopping him from getting on the ball as much as he could. Devious, I watched it on Setanta actually. I have a new way of watching the game, but I've only tried it for yesterday. I watched it for a bit of the Brighton Man U game. So I've got my TV down. I don't have a TV in this room, so I don't watch too much football, but I just go downstairs and watch it. So I was watching the Brighton Man U game down. Now, normally what happens is I'll get maybe 10 minutes of the second half, then I have to come up and get ready for the build-up show. So I did that. However, yesterday, I took my iPad up with me and continued to watch the Brighton Man U game until we went live on Setanta Sports. And then yesterday I watched the West Ham game on Setanta Sports. So I need to do more research. However, I think I found a way of watching the football in HD, and it's not illegal. Yeah, I'll share it with you if it works. I don't, because it costs money, so I don't want to tell people to do it and they spend money and it doesn't work. That's just stupid. So you're gonna have to give me a few weeks. But if give it 3-4 weeks, it's still going all right, then I will share how I've got it. Hammer99 says he agrees. There was time Bowen looked as though he was the right wing back. Had to make up a lot of yards to get forward whenever we got forward yesterday. Ross is buzzing with the win. Season is up and running. Chris thought Paqueta did some fine defensive work yesterday. Time to move Soucek on. Put Kudus in the middle and start Somerville on the left. After all, that's what we've gone for. No, not for me. I think I'd keep Soucek because I think 2 games now, I think that's Soucek's, maybe not so much yesterday, even though he scored yesterday. I think he was a bigger goal threat consistently against Aston Villa, whereas yesterday he got the goal, and I don't think he was a bigger goal threat as he was. I think arguably Fulkrug was our biggest goal threat yesterday. Had a couple of half chances when he came on. I wouldn't sell Soucek anymore because even if he doesn't start, even if Soucek's on the bench, and let's just say we do what Chris has just suggested there, which is Kudus is in the 10, Somerville's on the left, if we need a goal, our options on the bench will be Antonio, I'm assuming Fulkrug's up front, Antonio, Ings, Cornet, Guilherme, Ward-Prowse. That's if we sell Soucek. Soucek's the first guy I'm bringing on because Lopetegui's showing he can get a goal threat out of Tomas Soucek. I don't want to be selling our goal threats. Like I said, I'm going to take a bit more convincing that Soucek's in the team and here to stay. But so far, I think he's done well in both games. Personally, I would not be selling Tomas Soucek personally. And Bill agrees with myself regarding Bowen and defender. I'm glad I'm not on the old. I thought I was going to be the minority. I probably still am, but I thought I was going to get grief for that opinion. Art said maybe that's down to Soufal's game levels being less than last season, therefore Bowen being dragged back more than usual to help him. I think Lopetegui possibly just instructed him to get Soufal into Marquez, have Bowen chasing Mitchell, and then switch up when Wan-Bissaka goes on, free up Jarrod Bowen. Bang, it worked. Jordan agreed. I thought so last week as well, more so when he was subbed and Kudus went right. Kudus looked tired, wasn't tracking back, and Soufal got exposed. That's accurate regarding Maatsen. Alex couldn't agree more. Hey, maybe I'm in the majority here. Grosser says perhaps Bowen feels more defensive responsibility. Now he's been made captain. I think he's always had that defensive responsibility personally. Like I said, I just think Moyes had things in place. For example, if Moyes is in charge yesterday, I don't think you see Soufal chasing Eze. I think Soufal takes Mitchell and relieve Bowen high up the pitch as possible. Quiz says if we were putting money on it, do we think Andy Irving gets any competitive minutes for West Ham? I think he might on Wednesday. If he doesn't on Wednesday, honestly, he might as well just leave personally. Because he's not worth that much money, a handful of million, I'd imagine. Maybe it's worth keeping him. I think out of Irving and Potts, I've got a feeling at least one of them are going to have to sort of stick around as cover for the season. And that's a bad role. Nobody wants that job. I think I'd be more inclined to have Irving stick around for the season and loan. As much as I want to see Potts in a West Ham shirt, it ain't happening. I'd rather loan Potts out to a championship side and have Irving around the first team as cover for midfield. Because Irving can play 3 or 4 different roles in that team. And because of his sort of work ethic, you'd imagine... Do you know how we played Flynn Downs on the wing and James Ward-Prowse in the 10 and stuff? You do things like that sometimes when needs must. I'd imagine with Irving, if he's stuck in right wing, I think you'd get a pretty good shift from him, actually. So I think maybe that's what I'd be inclined. Josh says, where's Guilherme? Might see him in the cup against Bournemouth. Surprised he doesn't. He's only 18. I'm not surprised at all. I think I'm okay. I think it's the right thing to do. Just in terms of settling in, I think Guilherme is the one that needs it most. Leaving Brazil at the age of 18 to come to London, that's a huge thing. And then there's the Premier League, and I thought he struggled in pre-season quite a bit. So I'm actually calm, not seeing Guilherme personally. Mark agrees regarding Soucek, I assume, saying that we will see this more away from home. El Duderino says Sufal's been targeted second half, but Wan-Bissaka on Palace started to target Emerson more often. Joan would keep Tomas Soucek. Garino thinks Irving will go to Celtic if O'Reilly goes to Brighton. Now that transfer's happening. There's second one, which is frustrating. A couple of good signings Brighton have made and they're making. Quiz reckons Irving could be our James Milner / John O'Shea. Gates has now joined the chat. A bit late, Gates. We're going to be wrapping up in a minute. Curvin Orr would like to see us keep the Iron Brew Iniesta. Gel says Potts is 20, should be getting minutes. You can see him going down the route, and the likes of Cullen and Coventry. I would put him on loan to the Championship. He was linked to Portsmouth, wasn't he? So I think that's a good. I think Portsmouth's maybe a good level. I don't know what their central midfielders are like or if they're any good at that level, but on the assumption that there's the same players from League One, maybe Potts can then go in and try and stake a bit of a claim. I'm going to start wrapping this one up in a couple of minutes. But if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. It's free to subscribe. It helps the channel out as well. And also drop a like on the video as well by clicking thumbs up. Both things are free. It literally just takes 2 seconds. So thank you very much. Garina thinks Potts will play on Wednesday. Troll says Wan-Bissaka slapped by own fans. Kilman was slapped by own fans. Soucek slapped by own fans. I haven't seen much for Wan-Bissaka. I'm not really seeing much criticism of Wan-Bissaka. Same with Kilman, to be honest with you. I'm not seeing anyone slag Kilman off. And there's a huge difference between, I can only speak for myself here. I think we overpaid for Kilman. I think 40 million was too expensive. It doesn't mean I'm slagging Kilman off. If anything, I'm slagging the club off for paying it. But I just think we've overpaid. It's not. I've always felt that Kilman is a solid Premier League centre-back. We just paid a bit too much money. And I stand by that one. And yeah, he's had a really good start. I think he's man of the match yesterday. But it's going to take more than 2 games to convince me that 40 million was a bargain for Max Kilman. But it doesn't mean I've slagged him off. I've not seen anyone slag off Kilman. Well, I've seen some people suggest he's maybe not a great centre-back, but a negative opinion doesn't mean slagging off, I don't think. If you have a reasonable way of expressing your opinion, so if you say, I'm not sure Kilman is a great centre-back because I think he's a bit slow. Wolves fans say he can't play in the back 4. It has to be a back 3. He's quite quiet as a leader. If you give reasons for your opinion, I don't see that as slagging him off, because then if that's the case, we can never, ever have a negative opinion regarding anything, which is just ridiculous, to be honest with you. As long as it's done, I think slagging off is if you say he is shit, and that's it. That is a bit too far. But yeah, personally, I've not seen any slagging off of Kilman anyway. Clayton reckons that Rodriguez is going to be Hammer of the Year. CB reckons Irving will be more useful than Potts this season as Potts needs more game time. I agree. I do agree with that one. Charles says, Man U fans. Oh, sorry. Okay, Charles, I apologise. I thought you were referring to West Ham fans slagging off these players. I misunderstood. Well, says, loves Soucek, the big potato salad and munching lad. Loves the club, runs his socks off. He's huge. And there's a constant goal threat. Andy picks up advertising boards that fell on ball boys. He didn't say that. I just thought it was funny to add it. Charles goes on to say that there's a line with Soucek, some people, but I agree with that, by the way. I think some people do go over the top with Soucek, personally, which it's a shame. I understand if the person comes across as an unlikable character. Do you know when people have a go at Bruno Fernandes? Completely get it, don't like him one bit. But with Soucek, he's like, if you just for 1 minute pause your opinion on Soucek's footballing ability and just judge him as a person, in terms of how he conducts himself on the field and off the field, he's perfect. He's a perfect professional. He's come in, he's given 100% to the club. Even when we're getting bumped. I've seen games where we're 4-0 down and Soucek's still running his heart out and trying to block the shots and stuff, whereas other players have given up. It's not something I can ever suggest about Tomas Soucek. You know, he plays a ridiculous amount of minutes for club and country, yet still continues to give 100%. I think as a player being committed to your football club, him and Soucek have been incredible. If every signing we made had the attitude of Soucek and Soucek, we would be more successful. I'm quite convinced by that as well. Richard says, I think Soucek has shown that he can play in an advanced position. Maybe this is his best position. Plays to his strengths and weaknesses. Maybe removes his weaknesses, I think. Lucas says, people mainly see Kilman as expensive because he come from Wolves, my opinion. Again, I can only speak for myself. I'm going to say no to that because I think if Newcastle get Mark Gay for 60, 70 million, I think that's a good transfer. And he's coming from Crystal Palace. So, and I'm going to put Wolves on level with Crystal, without getting into the debate about which club's bigger. For now, I'm just going to put Wolves on even keel with Crystal Palace, right? So I don't think it's necessarily because we're buying him from that club. I just think he's overpaid because of what I've seen him do in a Wolves shirt, which is quite a lot, to be fair. I watch a lot of Premier League football. Don't watch too other football. Don't have time to watch other leagues. Bundesliga is the only one I keep up to date with. But Andy says, Caswell now 5 games from 300 Premier League appearances for West Ham. We'd love him to get there. I think he will, by the way. I think yesterday was very telling, by the way, that if we are defending a lead, I would suggest you can maybe expect Aaron Caswell to come on quite frequently this season. Lopetegui wanted him at Wolves, so there's clearly something about him he likes. We convinced Caswell to sign a new contract extension at the end of the season when he was expected to leave, but the club knew Lopetegui was taking over. Caswell signed a new deal, so we know Lopetegui wants him. Caswell's committed himself to another year at the club with the knowledge that Lopetegui's joining. He got minutes pre-season. He had the captain's armband at one point during pre-season. I think Lopetegui really likes Caswell, and I think you're going to see Caswell quite often throughout this season as a defensive substitute when we need to protect a lead. Personally, Jay reckons 40 million for Kilman is fair considering the current market. Jones says Lopetegui, speaking about Bowen, said we must win. It's essential that we do well in the cup. And that is what I think is important and gives me hope, because not only did Lopetegui say, Jarrod Bowen said it as well. Jarrod Bowen, before a ball was even kicked this season, said winning the cup is the ambition for West Ham this season. And I like it. I like it. When our captain comes out and says our aims this season is to win a trophy, not to qualify for European football, he goes on to say that as well. But obviously, win a trophy, you do that. Winning a trophy is priority. It gets me excited, gives me hope. Carabao Cup, bring it on. I don't care which one. I'd prefer the FA Cup, but if we won the Carabao Cup, I would be delighted. And it means European football next season as well. And I know people aren't keen on the Conference League. A, I like it, and B, we could then be, if everything goes, let's just dream for the next minute, win the Carabao Cup next year. Could be the first team ever to win the Conference League twice, back in the history books. I like it. Anyway, right then, I am going to shut up and disappear. 38 minutes. Apologies for it being so long. I always start these up intending to do 40 minutes, but I enjoy chatting to people. Tell you what, I'm going to do a live stream during the week. Maybe, I don't know, Tuesday night. Will we pop back Tuesday night? Then Friday night, we've got our transfer deadline day show. We love a deadline day show here in Hammer's Chat. I've been doing it for years now. Get some special guests along. So this week, I'm going to be trying to organize 1 or 2 special guests, and we'll be live on Friday night. But Tuesday night, we'll go live on the channel at Tuesday. So hopefully you can come back and join us then. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, you must have done. It's 40 minutes long. You made it to the end. Please do drop a like by clicking thumbs up, subscribing to Hammer's Chat, and I'll catch up with you. Well, I'll catch up with you tomorrow, but Tuesday night, I'll see you in the live chat.